I guess now we have a history of starting with goofy laughter and Shyam making funny faces. So we will begin game week 35, Wenger Morghulis extra again, with another goofy laugh. But hey, welcome everyone. This is the game week 35 preview. We will be talking about the much anticipated penultimate week before the playoffs. So much to play for. Still, all trophies are still up for grabs. We have number one position up for grabs, like quote unquote up for grabs. Sham has already pretty much almost clinched it. We have the last two places of the playoffs. Three people battling for it. Although relegation's certain for some, we will be looking at chances that other people might have for bye week, which is game week 36. I will explain all of these for the Wenger Morghulis newbies or amateurs. If you haven't been paying attention to my texts on WhatsApp, go take a look at it before you watch this video. But Sham, welcome. Today it's just the two of us.
Yep, here we are.
Representing Wenger Morghulis. Love to do this every once in a while.
Yeah, it's on my tent somewhere.
It's on your tent. I like that joke earlier when you cracked it. I'm going to laugh at it again now. All right. So let's get so a couple of things. We wanted to keep this really short. Last time we saw an average watch time of 15 minutes. I was so happy. I decided to come back again.
Thank you, everyone. You make Vikas happy.
You made me happy, yes, because we had 25 views and an average duration of 15-minute watch time. That's unheard of in Wenger Morghulis history.
Some of that is because Chewy did not know how to pause the video, so I think Yuri was watching it on loop. Yeah, so Chewy went on loop.
Possible, but nevertheless, it brought a smile to my face. Retention value over there was really high. What else? So we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about the H2H table. I'm going to talk about the top three teams and the top three players to pick for Game Week 35. And we might be able to get Shyam's plans for Game Week 35 as well, because I know at least 4 people have their ears open to see what Shyam's up to. Yeah? Will you disclose, Shyam? All right. We shall wait and see. But created this cool little graphic. Let me see if I can. Okay, hopefully now everyone's able to see it. But essentially, we have 4 people that can make it to the top at the end of Game Week 35. Shyam's obviously he's pretty much settled in top position. You can notice the party face emoji right next to his name. He's basically won it at this point. It's almost impossible that he's going to lose. Shyam plays Nikhil, which we'll talk about in a bit. He has a bench boost available. He has 14 players who have a double game week in 35. So it's pretty much...
I have 12, but anyway, go on.
Okay, fine, 12. Okay, you have 12 players that are playing twice in game week 35. Well, quote unquote twice, because a lot of them might get rested, and Shyam will talk about that in a bit. But essentially, if Shyam plays his bench boost, it's highly unlikely that KP is going to beat him unless KP has a differential captaincy pick under his sleeve. Raghav has his fingers crossed, hoping for a Shyam slip up, and which will put him through if he does win his fixture. Or if
is Raghav ahead of you on Purity?
Raghav, we will find out.
Sorry, everyone's ahead.
So you are 2009 on Purity. Raghav's approximately 50 points. It's probably going to be very difficult. So
yeah,
for Raghav to make up the 50 points, and for me, for example, if Raghav and I win, I probably won't make up the 50-point difference either. Yep. Yuri is closest, but again, it's unlikely that Yuri will get a draw. So Yuri would have to win out his fixture against Alhad to make it to the top. So angry faces next to Vikas and Yuri. Obviously, We were top of the league, game week 32 and 33 respectively, and now we see ourselves hoping for a miracle, which obviously will never happen. It's one of those things where you really try for something so hard and it never shows up, but such is life. Uh, Gaurang again is sitting pretty in fifth. Doesn't have anywhere to go. Doesn't have.
Yeah,
He can't be eyeing position four because he's behind on purity points, and Nikhil would have to beat you, and there would be many more changes in the table if Nikhil beats you.
yeah.
So I think Gaurang's sitting pretty at five. Nikhil's obviously in six. He's clearly angry about something. Why is he angry about?
Well, he's angry that he now has to actually consider this match instead of just using this week to get ready for playoffs, which is what he would have, I think, ideally liked to do. But because he controls who wins the H2H championship, so I think yeah, he's not going to be happy if I win. Let's put it that way. So he's definitely going to try
Why?
and sort this
So,
out.
what is this rivalry? You briefly touched upon it last time, but I need to understand why this rivalry. Nikhil can, like you said, he can very easily just prepare for game week 36. Although not too much, because if he takes
Yeah,
hits,
he's got a chance on purity, right? So I think the main thing is, yeah, no, the hitting thing we're joking about, but well, not really. But on purity, do you have his purity here? You have so
I
many animations
do. I
playing.
can I can start the other animation.
Ma-
I'm
magic, magic.
revealing things that I'm supposed to be revealing later on, but.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. So Nikhil second on purity. It's still 45 points, so it's not easy, but it's not completely like if he was really close on purity, there's no way he would be taking hits to prepare for playoffs or anything like that. He's 45 points behind, which means but with his chips intact, so he's still got a really good chance of not really good, but he's got a chance of getting that purity trophy as well. Plus, he's got playoffs, so I think he's in a pretty confused situation. I
Hence
mean,
the emoji.
I would be if I was in his place. Knowing him, he's probably made up his mind on exactly what he's going to do, and he's got Salah, which does scare me. The fact that he has Salah this week against Cardiff, when Salah finally looks back like he's returning to form. Yeah, so it should just be a very interesting thing to see what happens there.
Yeah, I actually can't wait for the deadline to pass and see your
See
teams.
the
But
teams.
yeah, because like you said, it's one captaincy choice that is it's probably
Yeah,
good. Historically, bench boost has been worth 14 points, but we all know
really.
that bench boost has typically been around 14 points when played in a double game week.
And how much is triple captain?
So triple captain was, I want to say it was about nine. Triple captain was nine. Free hit was up to 20, 18 or 20 points, and bench boost was,
Right.
yeah, and bench boost
Huh.
was around
Okay.
14ish. So, but yeah, and these are all if they were played in a double game week. So let's say you do play your
Yeah.
bench boost in double game week, then you're likely to get about
Well, but
20
yeah,
points.
the but it depends on you having a good bench. After that, you'd get 14 points.
Right.
Like right now, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on my team, but like for example, a lot of us, I was looking at other teams on our league as well. For people who might play the bench boost at some point. Like for example, I think Marco might play it this week, as an example. So, I think like I have Dini who's out and two Brighton defenders who did so well last week. Uh, so
Catch the
yeah, so
sarcasm, people. Please
right,
don't bring Brighton
and
defenders and
they're
just.
playing right. They're playing Wolves away and they're playing Spurs away. So it is not unreasonable to think that they're going to get 0 points again, right? They are horrible. So then I've got those three players, and like, okay, really, should I use bench boost? If Dini wasn't out, I would have used it for sure. I
But
think with Dini out, I have to make a choice of if I'm going to use the free transfer, the player I get in, is that going to be worth it? Do I take a hit and play bench boost? Do I triple captain? So I really don't know yet. I know we jumped into
you're
that,
just,
but
you're
that
just
is done.
saying things to confuse us at this point. Confuse
I
me especially.
No, I'm
So then
well,
essentially,
there's no point in confusing you, but and actually there's no point in me like with Nikhil also, he's going to do whatever he's going to do. He can't change anything based on my team, to be honest.
I don't think so. I don't think so. You might be underestimating me. So, okay, I'll talk about myself for a couple of minutes. Bear with me. So there are three things that I'm shooting for. One is H2H. Two is
Three things. Okay. Okay.
two things. Sure, H2H is one of them.
Yeah.
Mainly related to this group. So H2H is one. I have an outside chance of making it, hoping that Raghav and you slip up somehow, and then I beat Harshad
Yeah.
miraculously and somehow make it in. Although me beating Harshad is not a sure thing because Harshad is looking for a playoff spot that he's battling with Phil and Marco. So Harshad is going to go
Yeah.
all out against me anyway. So I might lose the fixture with Harshad. But I'm also looking for a good position league table wise for the playoffs. So one plays 8, two plays 7, three plays 6, four plays 5. The person I'm actually looking to avoid in the playoff first round is Nikhil. I've looked at the teams. I've sorted them by projected scores for game week 36. And if no changes are made,
Okay. Yeah.
Nikhil is the top scorer for game week 36 if no one makes any changes to their teams. So Nikhil is projected to get 63 points. The next person is going to be you with 58 points. So at least based on projected scores, the two people I want to avoid are obviously you, which I probably won't play because we're in the same top half, and the second person is Nikhil. So I'd be looking closely at your matchup, not just to see who wins and if I have an outside chance, but also to see where Nikhil finishes or he might finish. Anyway, so
Man,
he's the
you
one
do
person I'm
spend a
trying to
lot of
avoid in
time.
36.
I hope you get what you want, man. You do spend a lot of time thinking about
No, it's not a lot of time. It's something I need to do to distract myself from the really crappy
marriage.
commute. No, really.
No. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
While my to-be wife is listening to me over here. But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
no, from the commute. The commute.
Oh.
Um,
Okay. Yes.
but the computer
Offline.
just froze. Hold on one second. I'm going to have to unlock it. Ah,
Look at that handsome man.
all right. So yeah, I lost my bearings, and I don't think this is projecting anymore.
No.
Sorry, folks. Please pardon the really. I can't use a word that starts with an S. What can I say? Uh,
Well.
Pardon the lack of production qualities in this video. But okay, so anyway, I'm done talking about myself. There are three things that people in general in the league should go for. One is the playoffs or not, the title they want, and also positional play. It's especially important if you're in the relegation playoffs because game week 36 is going to be a bye week for people that finish ninth or 10th. And this is really important because imagine having an entire game week just to prepare for 37 and 38 so that you can set your team up for 37 and potentially also 38 and make sure that you have all your chips intact while doing so. So the bye game week for relegation playoffs, which looks like right now either Shannon or Alhad are certainly going to be in one of the relegation playoff spots, and possibly one of Marco, Phil, and Harshad. We'll see at the end of this week. But otherwise, we the bottom half of the table, we have. I put a crown next to Shannon because he obviously he doesn't care anymore. He's been a past champion and he's sitting pretty at 10. I don't think I think
He's going to want his trophy back, especially after like he liked that boot so much. So he's going to want. Oh no, not the playoff one. Well, he'll get the relegation playoff one this time.
careful there, Sham. You're also shooting for the playoff spot.
I am not shooting for the playoff spots. That's
You
that's something
said
I'm so.
right.
No, I'm so grateful about that, honestly, because I've said I want to win Purity. I want to win H2H now. Now that I'm there, playoffs I don't care about because
Wait, so you're actually
I
going to
can't
throw
prepare
for your
for.
matches? You're
No,
going to
I'm not
throw
going to
your
throw
matches.
my. There's no way I'm going to throw my matches because I'm going to play for purity. But what I'm saying is, I'm not going to get stressed about who I'm playing against or what chip I use when, etc. I'll just keep focusing on purity.
Fair enough. Okay. I mean, Purity is pretty much in the bag too. 50 points, unless KP has a
Yeah,
miracle. But anyway, so Vicky and Bobby especially, Bobby has beaten me and Yuri in the last 3 game weeks. They're going
and,
really strong.
and I beat him by 1 point. Okay, that's also in the last 4 weeks. So in the last 4 weeks, I think he's played all three of us. I managed to beat him by 1 point, and both of you lost. That's the whole shift in the top three, four, basically. Bobby's
And
got.
and Viggy too. Viggy was the top scorer this past game week without even making a change, not even looking at his team. He has something to do with the last few game weeks
Every year.
every single year. This time he started on a low because obviously fatherhood, but yeah, Yash, I was actually surprised. Yash was one of the few people who had Sterling going on in this early in the season, and he's
Hmm.
still sitting all the way at the bottom. I did add a crown to his name because he's winning. He's actually number one in what he does.
In
Doesn't
life.
really matter to him if he's number 14 in FPL. So I still gave him the crown right at the end. But anyway, so Sham, enough about the H2H table. Again, a few pointers. This is the last game week before playoffs. Everyone go take a look at what you want to win and how you're going to win it. I'm again, like I said, I'm looking for top finish in H2H as my primary goal. Secondary goal is positional play. So everyone figure out your goals, figure out who you're playing and what their teams are. This is the most important game week in H2H, barring the
Yeah.
playoff finals, of course.
Yeah, I actually think, I mean, just looking at our past seasons as well, we've never had a table this close going into the last week. Like, usually, I remember the last 2 weeks, people are just taking hits like crazy to prepare for playoffs. There may be one or two spots remaining, but now you're really looking at there are two playoff spots, and the top four is all in contention. So you have 6 out of 8 spots, really, which are not figured out, which is pretty unbelievable this season. I don't
Yeah,
think we'll see that again.
I think we've seen a close battle for playoff spots, but never for the top. And this year again, like as expected, 3 playoff spots up for grabs. Sorry, 2 playoff spots up for grabs amongst 3 people. But Cham, before we end, do you want to talk about the top teams that people should be choosing from for Game Week 35, and who are your top 3 player
So
picks?
only game week 35 in mind.
Just Game Week 35 in mind. And might I remind everybody that if people had listened to Sham last week, they probably would have got Vardy in and might have had a good game week. So listen to the
And
section
and
again.
they probably would have got Brighton in and had 0 points from no 3 points from 540 minutes of football from three Brighton players. So
That is true.
yeah,
That is true. So Sham is basically your choose your adventure. Sham, top
right.
three.
One of my picks is going to be great. You have to figure out which one. Right.
It's going to be who?
It is going to be
Oh,
great.
one of your picks
You
is
have to
going to be
figure out.
great. Right,
Yeah.
right. I would bet on two because we've discussed this pre-recording and there are some really solid names out there.
Yeah, so I do think, I mean, again, it's only 35. I think it's tricky, but 35, the team I like the most is Wolves. 2 home games. I know they had a weird last game where they lost to Southampton, um, but I think they're still going to play for that Europe spot. I mean, they've had that last game can be explained by the fact that maybe they were just down losing to Watford in the FA Cup, so maybe that. But home games against two really terrible defenses. So I would give them a really good chance. I think any Wolves player, Jota, Jimenez, Doherty, one of the defenders, a Bolly, anybody. I think so. Wolves is my favorite team right now. The second team is City. There's a big question mark in terms of whether they can bounce back. But what we do know is they won't rotate now for the sake of rotating. They're out of Champions League, so I think I do think Sterling will play. I do think Aguero will play. And well, I'm hoping both of them play. I have both of them in my team right now, and they're not going anywhere. So, uh,
Aguero for sure, I do agree. But Sterling, again, I mean, the emotional toil,
yeah,
the
it's
last minute goal, and then being judged offside through VAR. I mean, it's just really hard for him to come back from it. I know he's probably one of the best players out there, but he's still young, tired, obviously because he's played 180 out of the 180.
But all of them are tired. You're not going to play Mahrez against Spurs after losing to Spurs. You're not going to play Mahrez. So then what? It's going to be Sane, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Fernandinho comes back in for Gundogan, I guess, and KDB. So if that's your midfield, then what? You're going to say that David Silva and KDB will both play 90 again? I don't know. I think Sterling's going to start. To be honest.
So I think Sterling's definitely going to miss out on 90 minutes this game week. Basically, he's only going to start one out of the two games.
Possible, yeah.
And the other person that might start alongside, who looked pretty electric when he came on, was Sane. He has a point to prove. He's not being picked very often by Pep over the last 8 or 9 game weeks. And he's a solid player. He looked great versus again Spurs in the Champions League fixture. So he might actually come play on the left. Sterling might move to the right, but we know Mahrez can play on the right. So it might be a Sane Mahrez combination that might start this week. But again,
Mahrez is not going to start. I'm pretty sure of that. I think Sane might. He's a risky pick. So if you're asking for top picks, I would still say it's Sterling. It's probably Aguero even more than Sterling, to be honest, because I don't think he's going to trust Jesus to lead against United and Spurs. And Sane is a risky pick. Sane and KDB, I love watching the guy. He's in top form right now. If he gets minutes, he's going to, and he's cheaper. He's cheaper than both Sterling and Aguero.
that is true, but I'm actually surprised that you're calling Sterling a safe pick. So both of us, I think we agree that Sterling's not going to start both games.
I don't agree with that. I mean, I think if I had to pick one, I would pick Sterling. I'm just saying that.
But how about we know for a fact that a Salah is going to start the one game he has.
Oh yeah, I'm saying from City, Sterling's the safe pick.
Fair.
If I had to pick one player from City, it's going to be Sterling right now.
Okay.
But Wolves. So my number one person on my team sheet this week would be Jimenez. I'm considering captaining him as well. 2 home games. Yeah, because he's guaranteed game time. So
Are you planning to triple captain him?
if I don't bench boost, I will. Yeah, which is so risky, but I would. Like if I'm not bench boosting, I'll triple captain him. I can say that.
Wait, so are you confirming that you're going to use a chip this week no matter what?
Yes. Yeah. I'll definitely use either triple captain or bench boost. I don't see. I have to. I'm in the position to win it. It would be very stupid if I did a Yuri by being arrogant. And I mean, I could still lose after trying everything, but at least I have to try. So, yeah.
Are you calling your future employer arrogant and
Uh,
overconfident? No, your future employee.
yeah, and I like that about him as long as it's not against me. So it's fine.
That's good. Okay. A very diplomatic answer. I should stop getting. I should stop igniting many fires in here. But okay.
Yeah. So wait. So back to top teams. This was supposed to be a 10-minute video, but
I know it's okay. We got carried away. It's okay.
Yeah.
Two people talk more than 3 people. So
okay. So City. So Wolves, Jimenez. That's the first pick. City. I would still pick Sterling or Aguero, one of those two. Then third team, I would pick Salah. Like against Cardiff, I don't think. I mean, I know it's away, but yeah, when he did play, through the middle in that last game, he looked back to his form. That goal was insane. He looks back to his best, and I think if he continues that, then it's going to be very tricky. And not just for 35. I'm looking at 36, 37, 38. And
have good
very
picture.
few people own him. Of course, one of the people who does own him is Nikhil. But otherwise, very few people own him in the league right now. So if you're looking for, it's kind of silly to say Salah's a risky pick, but he is. But he could be that one pick because it's very difficult to get in. Like, there's no way I'm getting him in for 36, 37, 38.
And you
I can't
you've
afford
already paid your wild card too. So
Yeah, exactly. So I can't afford. I mean, I'll have to drop Sterling to do that. So unless it's a big injury like that, I wouldn't be able to get Salah in or Aguero. But anyway, yeah. So Salah is my third pick.
It's really interesting. So you didn't pick Arsenal, and you haven't picked anyone from Arsenal. I actually think that they have some really interesting fixtures. So one, their next Europa League game is on May 2nd, but it's also at home, so they don't have to travel to some ah, forgive my ignorance, but some godforsaken place within Europe, which is a 16-hour flight and like a 20-hour boat ride or something. But
You're going to get it from Marco.
I know, I know, I know, I know. I should be cautious. He's the only one that watches.
European
We can't.
teams.
He's the only one that watches our episodes, so I can't lose one. If I lose Marco, I basically would lose like 10% of our
I think
audience.
he's going to write you a letter like that San Marino guy wrote to Mueller.
Anyway, so Arsenal are playing at home versus Valencia. They play, but that's on May 2nd. They play Crystal Palace at home in the upcoming fixture. Again, mind you, Arsenal cannot slip up. If they want a top four finish, they can't afford to slip up against Crystal Palace. The Wolves away fixture,
Wait, didn't they? Are they now through to the finals?
they're through to
Sorry,
the semi-finals.
semi-finals.
And if odds are to be believed, then Arsenal will play Chelsea in the finals, which is by no means a sure fixture, sure win in the Europa League. So they can't be banking on Europa League to make it to Champions League next year. So they would be gunning for top four. In the league. They're playing Crystal Palace at home. They're playing Wolves away. Even though they're playing Wolves away, Wolves does not have a great defensive record, at least in the last four games. So they are going to concede. Now, whether Arsenal will concede or not is the question. But against Crystal Palace, I totally bank them. Uh, Aubameyang is probably a little too expensive to just stay on your bench one of those games. So I would go for a Lacazette, who will surely start one and will make a sub appearance in the other, and he's the most likely to score at this point. So
yeah, I think. I mean, Arsenal. They're risky picks. They can be great picks. They have the fixtures till the end of the season to prove it, but I wouldn't put them as a safe-ish, whatever you call safe. I thought Brighton was safe last week, but
yeah,
so yeah. But Arsenal's a risky pick, but it can pay off. Both, and if I had to pick two, I would put Lacazette and Ramsey, like you said. So I think Ramsey for his price is pretty. He can deliver that in the home game
absolutely.
against
And,
Palace.
and I think for all playoff aspirational players in the league, Arsenal play Brighton in 37, the last home game of the season, Ramsey's last home game of his career
Oh wow.
at Arsenal, and then they play Burnley away on the in game week 38. So they are really good picks, even from a 37-38 perspective. So if you think you're going to be in the running for either in the semifinals or the finals, they should be your pick. But Sham,
They're risky picks. Okay, these guys don't start every game. You can't predict what Emery's done. I don't think he's had a single sane first 11 put out for a long time.
I can tell you at least from watching Arsenal Twitter, from watching Arsenal matches, all of them are going. All the top players are going to start in game week 37, the last home game.
Okay, so who is that top team? The team which beat United, probably. That's the front line.
Possibly. So Aubameyang on the left, Iwobi somewhere maybe. No Mkhitaryan, thankfully. Lacazette and Ozil. All four would start with Ramsey playing like a floating number 9. But anyway, so all of them are good picks. They will also likely start the final game, depending on what happens to the Europa League final. Actually, I don't know when the Europa League final would be in case Arsenal get there, but I'm assuming it's going to be after the season ends, after the Premier League season ends.
Yeah, I think it's the weekend before Champions League, if I remember correctly from last.
So there's no risk of overplaying players. Last game of the season, might as well go for it. So anyway, so we've overshot our time, a 10-minute slot, but
Who's going to be our captaincy pick for this week?
who's going to be your
Very
captain?
interesting.
I'm not giving anything away this week.
Jimenez is my top pick right now.
Okay.
Just
And
because I don't feel that safe with Sterling game time. But after, I mean, I know that. Let's see. I depends on what I end up doing if I'm bench boosting or triple captain. Because
right.
triple captain, I need a safer player.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with I'm going to stick with Salah as captain. I've been trying to follow the rule that I set for myself earlier in the season, which is pick a player, captain him throughout. I swerved away from my own policies for a little bit, but I think I'm back on it. I'm going to captain
It's so
Salah.
strange to captain somebody who has one game versus when your players were two games. That's all. I mean, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just feels so strange when you feel like, wow, somebody's got 180 minutes, somebody's got 90 minutes.
I know, but you know how that worked out for you last week, and
Yeah,
that's a prime
yeah,
example. And given how every week is crunch, I'd rather have it on a relatively safe rather than a risky but safe player. And Jimenez, actually, I mean, no player unless you are of the caliber of Ericsson, Salah, KDB, Hazard. I don't think any player can
yeah,
guarantee you points like they do.
yeah, yeah. I would add Aguero to that mix too.
Aguero,
But yeah,
eventually, if he starts, but yeah. Anyway, all right. So this was a lengthy game week 35 episode. Hope people listen to it. I want more than 10 minutes average listen time this time.
I
We've I,
think we should edit and start it halfway anyway. The first
maybe
half.
maybe I will. But
Okay.
Shyam, I actually think we discussed a lot of FPL related. We had a lot of FPL related chatter this time, and useful stuff too. People getting into each other's minds, trying to second guess who they're going to pick. Never
So,
worked.
so let's do final predictions then before you go. Who's going to make it into the playoffs? Who's going to win?
Ooh, okay. So you just want me to say that you're going to win, don't you?
Sure.
Okay, so I actually think that Sham, you are pretty much. I mean, it's yours to lose at this point. I
Yeah.
don't think you're going to lose it. I don't think you're going to make a mistake like Yuri did last game week. There's not many fronts that you're battling. Like you said, you're only shooting for playoffs and into it, so you're going to win it. I
Can you
think
pull up the slide again just so we
it's.
see?
I stopped sharing.
Oh, okay.
I think between Marco, Harshad, and Phil. I saw Harshad over the weekend, and he said that he's going to do anything possible to make it to playoffs. So he really wants to
Oh,
be in the
okay.
playoffs.
Okay.
So I know for a fact that he probably will make it to the top eight. Marco has a better chance of making it to the top eight. Just looking at his fixture, he's playing Shannon. Not saying that Shannon does not have a clue what he's doing, but just looking at the teams for 35, I think Marco has a better chance of making it to the playoffs by overtaking Phil. They are very close on purity points as well. I think the plus or minus
Yeah.
11 or 12 points.
Yeah.
So anything can happen. But if I were to bet, I would probably say Marco and Harshad. I know I'm not going to hear the end of this from Phil, and especially if he makes it. But again, Liverpool fans they shouldn't be getting everything. They're probably gonna get the Champions League this time, maybe the Premier League. Yeah, they don't need the FPL Wenger Morghulis title as well. So, but Phil would make it to the bye spot in the relegation playoffs. So there you go.
Yeah. Uh,
What are your predictions? Who's gonna make it?
okay. Playoffs. I'm gonna go with Marco and Phil. I don't think you're gonna let Harshad beat you easily. If you were, then then I would say yes. But I don't. I think he's got the toughest game this week against you. So
No, but I'm not using any of my chips for sure. Harshad will use one of his chips,
fine.
and
That's guesswork, right? So I mean, I'm just like predicting. I'm just saying it's Marco and Phil. That's it.
okay,
I would love if it's Harshad too. So,
yeah.
uh, but problem is Harshad has a bad habit of winning very important games. I remember facing off against him, so I don't think he's a good guy to have in the playoffs.
Ooh, so
So
you don't want him in the playoffs.
yeah,
That's
I don't think I want him in the playoffs, to be honest. Yeah. uh, but then could be anybody. Yeah. So that, and who do I think will win? You're right. It's mine to lose right now. I will
Trying so
predict
hard
that.
to be modest.
I think I can. What? Sorry.
Trying so hard to be modest. It's okay. You can post.
No, no, no. I do. I mean, it's mine to lose right now. I do think I can win it. Uh, yeah, I'll predict that I'll win it. I will say that I was looking at the history, and what's very funny is I think Raghav actually deserves to win it. I hope he doesn't win it because he was top of that table for so long in between. You remember, like he started dropping in 7, 8 weeks ago or 5, 6 weeks ago, but he was top on purity, on edge to edge for a long time. He was right up there. So I don't think he deserves to win it, but yeah, I'm going to predict
I,
that Nick Hill's not going to pull off something insane against me to win it. So,
no, but speaking of bad luck, right? Nikhil has had 3 draws. Now add 6 points to his total, and draws are, first of all, they're unlikely in an H2H setup. And having 3 draws on top of that, that's just really bad luck.
yeah, but
So,
that could also be good luck, right? Because you're 1 point away from winning or losing. So
yeah, fair enough, fair enough. But again, like
no draws.
three
No,
draws.
but like look at his purity points, right? So from that perspective, I'll say he is the unluckiest so far, and I will say, uh, yeah. But I do think, like technically, I would say Raghav deserves to win it. Like I would hate it if I would have lost it in the previous seasons because
Yeah,
of something like this. This season, I was seventh like 7 weeks ago, so I was not thinking of playing for that at all. I had purity on my mind, but
that is some.
you guys are very nice.
It's okay. It's okay. Yuri is just being nice to his new boss. He Yuri let you win. This is not even my fault. Like I was facing off Yuri in Gameweek
Okay,
3. I had no choice.
it's done. It's done. Nobody's let anybody win. Nobody's won yet. So all
I
the
know.
best, everyone. All the best, everyone.
I
And
seem to have pissed Sham off in the at the very end, but I
no, no,
listen to it.
pissing me off.
Remember, this is the last game.
I'm just nervous. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. So last game week before playoffs, play your hearts out. Look at who you're playing. Second guess what they're planning to do, and don't forget playoffs start game week 36. Bye weeks for the relegation playoffs. That folks that end up in 9 and 10. So remember all this. I'm going to send it in writing again, but yes. Uh,
Thank you. Thank
read
you, admin.
all right. See you, folks.
Bye bye.